Welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the key principles and key things to know about how to share your prototypes, collaborate with other people, share it with users, how to host your prototypes, and so forth. So everything about from the moment you're done with your prototype to the moment you want to share with your users or perhaps user test. So as you can see, I have our prototype from before, and we have this wild reads, let's say fictitious brand, and maybe I want to user test this prototype and see exactly if these type of content slide effects and bookmarks we did before in a previous video actually works for our end users. So what I would do right away, I could either preview just using that button and just preview all the bits we did before and all the functionality from before, or I could click this cloud share option. Now, if you do this, Axure allows you to add a name for, let's say, for your prototype, and I'm just call it wild reads test 1 maybe, just to add some sort of versioning to it. And I'm able to, let's say, give a password to our prototype and just like that generate URL, let's say, to test on our users. It's gonna be test1 for now. And I can also select a folder for a workspace of where the prototype is gonna be hosted on a cloud. So I'm gonna just add it to, let's say, to my projects, a typical default state. And I can either allow comments or disable comments and simply publish. Now, as you can see, behind the scenes, the uploading is happening. So our prototype is being taken out and uploaded on AxShare servers. If you have a subscription and it's not a trial, you're able to use AxShare Unlimited, and you can invite other people who have license to collaborate with. You can use the same Axure files and replace the things. And as you can see, Axure already published it, and it showed me that it's on Axure. I could have copied that link and then send it to our users, let's say, and gave it the password, which was testing1 or something like that, and they can just, you know, click through, and I could moderate and observe and facilitate and see what happens. Now, that's easy, right? Another thing what we can do if publish to Axure Share, as you can see, it shows that this has been already published, and I can just open the link and see it online like this, and it takes me to that prototype. And as you can see, there is a URL for this, and it's all online, so I can just give it to anyone and share it across. Simple as that, right? What other options Axure Share has to, you know, generate your prototypes or other things is that you actually can publish it locally. And that's quite important because sometimes you just want to host your prototype on your own server because of security reasons, let's say, or you want it to pre-package it and send it to your developers who can add extra code and snippets and things of that nature. Or you can also click on that settings icon, which I just did, and expand it to the side and then generate exactly which page you want to. You can exclude some pages, you can include the notes, you can include interactions and exactly what sort of cases you want to add. So, you know, all these bits actually apply when you're user testing and, you know, what sort of behavior you want it to be like. I usually leave it by default because that's usually all does the trick. You also can include different custom fonts if you want to, if your prototype. There is other options I'm going to cover in other videos of how to use custom fonts in your prototypes and attach them, but this is one of the things you can map your fonts and use it so that, let's say, it looks exactly the same on every browser the users would encounter your prototype on. But let's go ahead and just share it locally. So I'm going to exactly show you how it is. So as you can see, by default, it gives me a document option. I'm just going to go ahead and create a folder, and I can just publish it and open it automatically. Boom. And so our prototype got published. As you can see, it's a local source, so it's published locally. And here I have all the files which are generated by Axure. As you can see, there are images which are used. There's also code pieces, data, but all you need to know how to use a prototype from here on, if it's published locally, is just that you can actually take all these files and upload to an FTP server or any other hosting solution you might have. And just remember that you can launch your prototype by just simply targeting index.html. And as you can see, it's hosted now, it's just locally. So all the code and all the behavior is there, just like what we wanted to for it to behave, and all it behaves is exactly the same as what's intended and how we designed it. but it's local. So I can just take those files, zip it, upload it somewhere, and it's gonna be online right away. And that's one of the key things about Axure, that you can actually export fully working prototype like so, and anyone can pick it up and use it and even modify the code if they want to. The other bit, if you remember, just now I shared it to the cloud, and I can just open it again and preview it as I shown before. But where do those files actually go? Well, there is something called Axure Cloud or AxShare. So if you go to axshare.com, you can actually log in with your account details and preview all these projects. As you can see, I have quite a few of them. I just refreshed and I can see my workspaces. Let's say I can add other people. I can, divide it to different folders. I can structure my folders however I want to. And Axure doesn't limit how many prototypes you can have. As you can see, this is our wild reads test version 1, which I just uploaded. I can see an ID, and if I mouse over, it allows me to copy the URL, which I can share. I also have more details, so I can view discussions about it. And just to show you exactly what I mean, it's like I would go to the discussions, and here I would see the comments from other people. I used this specific prototype for comments to show you exactly in other videos of how it would behave, and as you can see, here are all of them, and I can either go in and view that comment, leave a reply, or I can continue. I can disable the discussions for any of the prototypes, or I can enable. It's easy as that. And if I navigate back in to our things, as you can see, our wild read test, I can just click in, see exactly what it's about. It gives me a simple kind of like a preview with a thumbnail, and I can also see exactly what this thing is about. I can copy a URL, I can change the password if I want, I can clear the password if I don't want to, I can replace the original Axure file, the source file, or download it. And this is one of the key features when you, let's say, collaborate with other designers, because we can upload or we can download your source files, so you don't have to email, because Axure files tends to be quite heavy. But what I want you to focus on right now is two key functionalities. I already showed you the discussions, which is great, but there is this thing, plugin. And plugins are, as it sounds, it's something you would add to your Axure, but on a code level. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So if I would click plugin, I can add the name, let's say ads, and I would select exactly where to insert it. Now you have to be a bit technical to understand this, but you can either insert a code snippet as a plugin to, let's say, a head element, which is a top structure part, where you would insert either styling or JavaScript type of plugins, or you could insert it into every body, or you could insert it into, let's say, some sort of specific dynamic panel. Now, let's say if it's ad snippet, like Google AdWords, where I want to actually track how many clicks I get on a specific page and where users come from, I could just paste it here, all that code, and just add it, and it would add to every single page automatically. So this is great. If I would want to check it into a specific dynamic panel, I could just enter a panel name, let's say panel X, and I could add a div to it, let's say, which is custom. And if I add something like that to a dynamic panel, then it's going to be portrayed on every single page which has that dynamic panel. So this is how you would add plugins. Again, it's quite technical, but if you know a little bit of code, you can modify your layouts, you can add API and server-side type of features, but it really depends how deep you want to go with it, because modern muscle tools like, let's say, Framer or Axure allows you to edit the code a little bit and add these nitty-gritty things, a little bit more functionality to it, so you actually can make, maybe store even information. It's really up to you to see exactly what you want to achieve with it and what you can achieve with it. Now, Axure has many more options, but I like how in Axure 9 we simplified a lot the generation of files. So it's really simple and easy to understand of how to do so. You can also set up custom domain names on Axure. You can, collaborate and use all the features. You can adjust the fonts and all that jazz. So there's a lot to do. But these are the key features you would use day to day to publish your prototypes and do it right. It's passwords, it's uploading to cloud, it's uploading locally or to FTP server and just using that to user test. And I hope this is useful for you. If so, give a like, subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna continue producing some of the content and some of the bits which I keep on mentioning in different videos, so it gives me ideas. But if you have any specific queries, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.